Good evening and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now we've got a few things in store for you tonight. So as well as our news, I'll also be answering a what would Chrissy do? And that's like if you're going through some kind of situation, you'd like to know what I would do in the same shoes as well. And I'll also be showing you the latest challenge that I did together with the lovely Bianca here. Hello, Bianca.
Hey, Chris.
So we did a challenge together, which was chocolate making. We were two different teams and you're going to see who won that.
Yes, it was a lot of fun though, wasn't it?
It was.
I was eating chocolate for days afterwards. Literally, I had so many.
Really nice.
I was giving it away. At first, I didn't really want to give it away, but then a few days in, I thought, oh yeah, start giving it away.
We're going to be showing the viewers that in just a second, but
Yes.
also just to let you know that we've also got TV doctor Rob Hicks to tell us about two health conditions that affect many people. Now, as you know, it's getting colder, the nights are getting longer, and many people start to suffer from SAD, which is Seasonal Affective Disorder. Now, why does this happen? Can it be prevented? And, you know, what can people do about it this time of year when they're feeling really miserable? And another current health issue that's been mentioned a lot in the media recently is diabetes. And does it mean this is on the rise? So we'll get Dr. Rob Hicks to tell us all about that afterwards. But first of all, we've got a bit of news. Yes. Or shall we show them the challenge? Actually, why are you so brown, Bianca? Like, I don't know.
Chris, I've been on a lovely holiday. It was my uncle's best friend's wedding, and we went for the wedding in London, and then we all got on the coach literally outside the wedding reception, and it was the quickest wedding that I've ever been to. It was about an hour, and there was no like singing or anything, and it was quick. And then we went from the wedding to the back of the hall, and it was of the church, and there was all like loads of food, all Caribbean chicken, rice,
nice.
And it was like 10 in the morning at this point, so it was really early, and I was like scuffing my face with all this food.
What, chicken?
Chicken, and it was
10 in the morning.
It was a bit much, but the food was just so yummy. Chris, you would have loved it, honestly. And there wasn't many drinks there, but we were like just stuffing our face, and I was like so dehydrated. And then we went from there to the airport, straight from there to the airport, and there was like 30 of us that went.
Oh,
and we
did you have fun?
We had just the best time. We went like on a quad bike safari through the desert. We went on a boat trip. We just did so many activities, and we didn't really know each other at first, but then as the holiday progressed, we like all got to know each other, and we just had a really good time.
Oh, was that the wedding?
Yes, that was the wedding.
I'm glad you had a nice time. I'm glad you came back.
I'm back, Chris. I'm back, just about.
Could have lost her out there, couldn't we?
And that was at the wedding with my auntie and my cousin, and they greeted us so nicely when we got there, like drums and music playing.
That's nice.
It was like something from a film. Oh, and I caught the bouquet, Chris.
Oh, did you? Oh.
Yes, I know. Good.
Wedding bells next year, maybe?
My boyfriend was like, oh no.
Oh well, you never know, we might surprise you.
You never know.
All right, so shall we show the viewers our chocolate challenge?
Yes.
Our chocolate making challenge. So take a look at this. Right, everyone, I'm here for my next challenge, which is chocolate making, and we are at My Chocolate in Chancery Lane. And I have a team with me here today. I have Andy and I have Barbs.
Yeah.
And we are going to be competing against a team that we know we're going to beat, and that's Bianca's team over there with Lewis and Louise.
We're gonna win! Yeah! Champions.
So here to teach us how to make the chocolate today, we have Sophie. So Sophie, thanks so much for inviting us down today.
My pleasure.
So what we're going to be doing today exactly?
Today is all things chocolate. So we're going to be making some very delicious chocolate martinis to start, to get you in the mood.
Right.
You are going to be making some giant chocolate buttons and getting creative with those on your teams. You're also going to be cutting, dipping and decorating some chocolate fudge and some gianduja to make a very professional looking box of chocolates at the end of the session.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, so let's get going.
Absolutely.
Yep, okay.
I've put some other chocolate in front of you, which is what we've flavoured here at My Chocolate. And I want you to tell me what the flavours are in there.
Is that cinnamon?
Yes,
Nutmeg.
well done. Yeah. Ginger and cinnamon. Okay, so it all rides on the final.
Nutmeg.
not nutmeg.
Hazel spice.
No, but it's still spice. Well done, you get the point. It's cardamom. Ginger, cinnamon, and cardamom. The pods that you often use like in curries.
Where did the idea come about for you to do something like this?
Well, I set the business up about 10 years ago. I was at art college and I saw something similar in Amsterdam because in Holland they eat a huge amount of chocolate.
I can imagine.
So I then decided to quit university and I set the company up using the remainder of my student loan.
Wow, brave move.
It was a brave move, yeah. It all sort of worked out. So I started running the workshops out of my living room and then it just sort of took off. And I didn't go back to university.
The first thing that you are going to make are some giant chocolate buttons. Well done, both teams. Your first challenge successfully completed. I think you've done a really good job. However, I did say I was going to be judging this challenge on creativity. So this wasn't about professionalism, it wasn't about skill even, it was about creativity. And so on that basis, I have to go for team. So I'm going to give you half an hour on your teams to use up all your fudge and gianduja, the marshmallows, make a lovely batch of chocolates, and at the end I'm going to give you some packaging so you can make your own boxes and present them to me to choose the winners. Okay, so go! Some very beautiful looking chocolates, including some drizzling. I think 2 very professional boxes of chocolate. I think I'm going to have to say the winner of this challenge, and therefore overall winner, is Chrissy B Show. So all that remains is for you to take the rest of the packaging and pack up your own individual chocolates to take home with you.
Thank
you so much.
Well done.
Well, thank you.
That was so much fun, wasn't it?
It was just amazing. Even afterwards when we got to eat all that chocolate,
know.
it was so good, wasn't it? It was like a dream come true. I love chocolate.
It was so nice.
So
I think we've got time for a quick news article.
Yes.
Have you got one for us?
All right then, Chris.
Or
So
press the break?
the question I'm going to ask you viewers and you, Chris, is should you give up your seat for pregnant women? Now, what happened was in the news today, Equalities Minister Jo Swinson, who's 7 months pregnant, was left standing in the House of Commons today. So Jo says people should not necessarily give up their seat to heavily pregnant women, and she also said it was quite sexist to say that she had been incapable of standing during most of the Prime Minister's question time today. So that was quite a shocking reaction, I thought, from someone that's 7 months pregnant. Usually someone that, heavily pregnant like that, they would be happy for someone to, sit down, but maybe it's because she's a businesswoman, I don't know, but I totally disagree with it. I think it's a good thing for...
Of course you should offer your seat to a pregnant woman, for goodness sake. I'm sorry. Of course you should.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been pregnant, but I know from friends that have been. It's hard to even lay down, never mind stand up for so long.
And 7 months is a long...
Or if the lady doesn't want to take the seat, fine, but you shouldn't get angry if someone offers you a seat.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. But the other thing with me is that when I was on the tube a few weeks back, there was a lady who was standing up and she was sort of leaning back, and I was sitting down and I couldn't really work out whether she was pregnant or not. So I didn't want to go ahead and jump and say, oh, do you want to sit down? Because I didn't want to offend her. her. So I
She might have
waited.
just been bloated.
This
or
is
something.
it. And she was sort of leaning back, and I was
just had a big meal.
yeah, and I was really staring. And I thought she's probably gonna look at me because I keep staring at her now. And I was really trying to work out: are you pregnant? Are you not? And I didn't want to offend her, so I waited a little while, and then she started sort of touching her belly, and I thought maybe. And then
Do you
luckily
think they do that on purpose, just to sort of say,
Yeah.
I'm pregnant, I want to see.
And then luckily we got to Oxford Circus, and it gets really empty then. As soon as we get to Oxford Circus, everyone gets off. So she sat next to me, and I said to her, I said, I'm really sorry. I said, I was going to offer you the seat, but I said I wasn't. At that point, I was pretty convinced she probably was. And she had a baggy sort of loose top on as well. And I said to her, I would have given you the seat, but I said I wasn't actually sure if you were pregnant or not because you've got quite a small belly. And she went, oh no, it's all right. And she said, I am pregnant. She said, but
you were brave.
Luckily, she went, I am pregnant. She said, I'm like 5 months. She said, but I'm really small. And she said that, and she said, you'll be surprised. When she gets on the tube, she says that there's so many people just don't give her eye contact, because they don't want the embarrassment of not giving her the seat, that they realise she's pregnant, but they don't want to confront it.
Sometimes people are, especially men, I think they're afraid to offer their seat to a lady nowadays.
Yeah.
And I saw something the other day when someone got on the tube and the man took the last seat, but he didn't see her.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a rush for that last seat.
Yeah.
And then she looked really sort of tired, and then he went to offer her the seat. She went, no, it's okay. It's like she got offended.
Yeah, see?
And I'm thinking, that's why some men aren't the way they used to be, because they're afraid.
Exactly.
Because I think it's a lovely thing for, like, if a lady comes on the tube and then, she gets on the tube and the guy gets up and
with comments like,
it's just so
with
nice.
comments like what Jo Swenson said, that she thinks it's quite a sexist act. It just makes it okay that men might not be so gentlemanlike, because they might think women don't want the seat now. Do you know what I mean? So for the rest of us, we've got to now struggle if we are if we've got a disability, or if we're less able to stand, that they're making it seem okay for it to be like that, which I totally disagree with. And I said to the young girl that I saw that was pregnant, she said, why don't you wear a baby on board badge? They've got those tube baby on board. She said, oh no, she said, I don't like the first, but she said, she goes, I'm okay, I'm capable of standing.
That's a good idea when you want a seat in the morning. Even if you're not pregnant. You've given me a really good idea.
So naughty. You're going to put a pillow up there and have a baby on board.
Oh, it's a nice way to get a seat. I'd like to know what our viewers think about that.
I would too.
I mean, not even just if you're pregnant, but would you get offended if a man offered you his seat? Do give us a call on 020 7686 6300. Or do you think it's just a nice thing to do?
I think so.
A gentleman being a gentleman.
Yes.
Because some people think, anyway, I'm not going to it anymore because we've got to go to a break. So do join us after this. Welcome back to the show. We're going to be talking about health very, very soon, about diabetes and also about seasonal affective disorder. So if you've been feeling a bit blue now that the weather's changed, do stay tuned, because you're going to be finding out why and what you can do about it as well. But first, let's get some more news from Bianca.
Yes, so my next lot of news is, the question is, should women have to wear makeup at work? So 2/3 of British bosses say that in order to be successful, women should have to wear makeup at work. So more than 2/3 of British bosses say that they would be less likely to employ a female if she didn't wear makeup at an interview. And 39% said female staff would be less likely to get promoted if the job entailed meeting people and were working with members of the public. And as the survey also showed that 67% of bosses would take a dim view of female staff not wearing makeup at key business meetings. Can you believe that, Chris?
That's interesting.
And then the women's side of it, so 63% of female staff surveyed said that they would also always wear makeup at work, and 2/3 of female staff said that they would feel less confident if they were at a high-level meeting without any makeup on. I just think it's a little bit.
I think for like younger women, because sometimes they don't really need it.
That's true.
They don't really need and to have to wear it. I mean, I think it's nice. I think women should take care of their looks. I think everyone should take care of their looks. But I think to be sort of sidelined for a promotion or anything like that, I think that's going a bit far. Although I know appearances do make... it's a tricky one, isn't it?
It's a huge... but it shocked me that the high percentage of, women that would go to an interview and wouldn't get the job because of makeup. I think that's just...
But I suppose from an interviewer's point of view, if that woman hasn't made... seemingly an effort at the interview, what would she be like at work? Because the interview is supposed to show the best side of you, really.
Yeah.
That's a time when you're selling yourself for that job.
Yeah.
So if you're not making an effort, then I can understand, like, for a job interview. But I think, as I said, younger women, I don't think they need much.
I don't think
not
so.
foundation and stuff, maybe a bit of lip gloss, a bit of, you know, just a bit of eye makeup, but they don't have to overdo it, because I think on the other extreme, some women overdo it. It's too much. And I think that can be just as...
Yeah,
doesn't look as
because
nice.
that reminded me, we had a lady that came on the show a few months back, and it was a makeup artist, and she said, it was Mila, and she said that a lady came to her about, I think it was 7 or 8 in the morning, and her morning look was like black smoky eyes and loads of eyeliner and loads of like foundation and everything. That was just like a day morning look. So everyone's like different, but I think that, for me, that's too much. I would never, and I can't be bothered even to spend hours on makeup in the morning. Like, sometimes for me at work, I don't...
Maybe it was last night's makeup.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's that. I don't, sometimes I just can't be bothered to put loads of makeup off when I'm going to work. If it's, you know, obviously it's different, because we present and we're on the show, it's different. We wouldn't come on the show with like no makeup on at all.
You wouldn't want to see us on the show with makeup on, trust me.
Because it's all about presenting, and it's a presentation style, but when I'm not on the show, I'll just probably put a bit of mascara on. Sometimes I won't put anything, just depending on my mood of the morning, I think, if I really can be bothered to put loads of makeup on. And also if you're doing anything as well, I don't see the need of sort of caking it on if you're not actually going anywhere.
I think a woman should feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So if she loves putting makeup on for work, she should do it. But also she should make a little bit of an effort if it's depending on what kind of job she's doing. If no one's going to see her, for example, she's just in the back office somewhere, that's different.
Yeah.
But if you're a sales assistant, for example, I think you do have to make, maybe not like, you know, paste the whole, you know, the war mask, like my husband calls it sometimes, not to paste everything on, but at least something, a little something, just to make that little bit of an extra effort. But you need to feel comfortable at the same time.
It's very true, because sometimes I'll... if I'm on the tube in the morning, and sometimes I might not have put any makeup on, and it also depends if I've woken up, at what time I've woken up. If I've woken up really early and I've got loads of extra time, I've got lots of time to prepare my makeup and do it, and have a big breakfast.
I always know when you've gotten up earlier, when you haven't.
If it's late, then
it actually looks.
Now you know, Chris. And
you anyway.
And then if I'm on the tube, sometimes and I haven't got any makeup on at all, I'm a little bit, I see other women with makeup on, and I'm a bit like, oh, I should really be, you know, so I feel a bit like I should have to do that, because I see other women
it does boost your confidence, doesn't it?
It does definitely boost your confidence. I always feel, I kind of feel a lot happier when I've got a little bit of makeup on, and because I think people are different to you. People receive you differently, don't they? They must do, Chris, don't they? Like, if you're looking a bit shocking and your hair's not brushed, no one's really going to sort of offer you the morning cup of tea. You know, but if you look a little bit nicer, I personally think that people...
there was one, just reminds me, there was one... a job that I had before, and it was a day that for some reason I missed the alarm, woke up late, didn't have time to do my hair. My boss took one look at me and he said, "You look like you've been run over by a truck."
Oh gosh.
And I was like, I was so shocked that he just said that straight, and I was like, oh, I just started to laugh actually, because it was just so direct, so honest.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so people do notice when you
people do notice. Yeah. And you know, but the other thing is, Chris, the other side of it is that when I was working at my previous job, I had a lady that I've spoken about her before actually. I had a bit of mascara on, and I don't know, I looked normal, but she had a bit of mascara on. She went, "Oh," she goes, "Oh, you're always putting that lots of mascara on and everything." She was like, "Who are you trying to impress?" And she said, like, it quite in not a very nice way. And I was like, I'm not trying to impress anyone. It was just depending on my mood again, whether I want to put mascara on or not. But she was like she said, it as if it was a negative thing to be putting any form of makeup on. And I didn't have anything other than mascara. So, you know, with women, sometimes you can't win, can you? Because it's like, if you don't wear it, people are annoyed, or if you do wear it, people make comments. So
that's what I'm saying. You just have to do what you're comfortable with.
You have to do what you feel comfortable doing, and then don't worry about anyone else's opinions.
That's right, definitely. We're going to do one more news article in just a minute. Let's just do what would Chrissy do here. Now, this person says, "My parents separated when I was young due to alcohol problems, and my father didn't really keep in touch." I'm assuming that it was the father that had alcohol problems. "I learnt to live without him, but always imagined what it would be like to have a relationship with him. Now he has tried to contact me, and he swears that he's a new man and wants to keep in touch. What would Chrissy do?" Now, I think this one's a tricky one. I mean, you say that you've learnt to live without him. So I don't think for example, you owe him anything, but I'm also a big believer that people can change. And we talk about this a lot on this show, that, you know, you can change if you're going through problems, you can get help, you can get counselling. So I think everyone deserves a second chance. But also, I would say if you are going to get in contact with him, don't expect too much either. Don't sort of pin all your hopes on this and for everything to work out. And also, don't feel pressure to see him all the time either. He's not been there. You know, it's probably going to be a bit awkward. Me personally, if I was going through this, I would probably get in touch, see how things go, and take it from there. Not put my expectations too high, because I remember watching a program once actually that it was a woman that had lost contact with her father for years, and she only from baby she hadn't met him before, and she was all her life she wanted to meet her dad and everything, and they did this whole program about her search for him, and she found him, and in the end she didn't even like him. He was a little bit strange. And the way he was talking about her and the mum, and he sounded like he had a lot of grudges with the family, and it was quite a big disappointment for her. So it really depends. That's what I'm saying. I think it's great, you know, that he wants to meet up with you again. Obviously, give him a chance, see what's going on, but also don't pin your hopes that everything's going to be wonderful, because these things, it's going to take time, I think, especially if you've not been that close.
That's true.
So,
you should just see how it goes, not expect a huge amount, and then you.
I mean, it's hard when you lose a father, or if something happens, if he leaves. There was another program I was watching about the effect that it has on children, even when they're grown adults, that a missing father has on their life. So it's quite a tough subject. Maybe we should cover this subject.
I think
one
we should
day.
actually. I definitely think so.
Right.
Good.
Okay, so I hope that's helped.
Yeah.
No,
So another question. Well, we had a guest on that was on the show a few months back, and she said something similar to this actually. And the question is, do you think housework counts as exercise? Do you remember the nutrition we had on? And she said they
had a big argument on the show, didn't they?
We had a bit of a heated debate going on, and she thought that she counted it as exercise doing the housework. So now
we can ask our doctor about that, can't we?
Yes, that's good actually. We can ask our doctor. So people who count gardening, DIY, vacuuming or cleaning as keeping active could be giving themselves a false sense of well-being, research is showing. And in some cases they may be eating too much to compensate for their overestimated levels of activities. So
it depends how you're doing your housework. If you're just hoovering and you're doing it really slowly and you're watching TV at the same time, obviously you're not burning many calories. But I suppose if you're running around really fast and you're running up and down the stairs, that's different, isn't it?
Yeah. And researchers found that those who counted domestic chores were heavier than those people choosing other forms of exercise. So it doesn't.
I think I'm going to speak to my mother about this, because my mum, she loves her biscuits and her tea and everything. She's in Cyprus now, but she still thinks she's over here with all the cups of tea and the biscuits and stuff. And she's always saying, I don't understand, because I'm so active and I'm always doing the gardening and I'm always running around. But then she has about, I don't know, 6 breaks with tea, and like she has to have a little something, a bit of chocolate or a little cake here and there. So it's true. She's probably thinking.
People think that they're doing, because you do get quite worked up when you're doing like the hoovering and everything. But I would never add it into my exercise. I don't know. It's just probably because I don't do it enough.
She can't bother to put makeup on. She doesn't do her housework.
Come across like I'm really lazy, don't I?
She just goes on holiday to Egypt all the time.
Yeah, but I do totally agree. I wouldn't add it into as an exercise, and that it's definitely not vigorous enough. Whatever you're doing, whether it's window cleaning, any of it, I wouldn't add it in.
I'm going to ask Dr. Rob after this, I think.
I think it's good to do, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, you know.
But you need to do the extra.
Yeah, you have to do the extra, and it might help towards it, but I wouldn't count it as the main thing. Definitely not. So,
sweetie, we've run out of time.
Oh, we've gone to the break.
But you're going to share some more news?
Yes, I'll stay with you.
Yeah, stay with us, just in case we do have a bit more time. So do join us after this break, where we're going to be speaking to Dr. Rob Hicks. Welcome back to the show, and now we're going to be talking all about health, and I have Dr. Rob Hicks with me. Hello, Rob.
Hi.
Lovely to have you back here.
It was lovely to be back, and I'm just chuckling about the fact that when I do the vacuuming now, it may not count towards my 150 minutes.
What do you think about that? What do you think?
Well, I think it was an interesting study, very interesting study, and I think there are 2 key points about the housework and DIY thing. One is it's a motivator for people to get started, to become active, to feel good that they've done something. So if they've mowed the lawn, or they've vacuumed the house, or they've been cleaning the windows, they feel, right, I can be active. What's my next step? Right. And the other thing, of course,
is
it's a kickstart. The other thing, of course, is just how energetic you are when you're doing it. You were talking about if you're just vacuuming along, biscuit in one hand and vacuum in the other, then it probably isn't going to be enough. But if you're really going at it, the key thing with exercise is you need to get your heart rate up. You need to feel just breathless enough that you can still maintain a conversation, but you do feel that you're catching your breath a little bit. That's the sort of level of exercise that means you're really putting the miles in.
Okay, so don't just depend on that. If you're just doing it slowly and leisurely, it's not going to work.
No, well, certainly don't stop doing it based on the fact that you're thinking it's not going to do you any good. Even a little bit of activity will help.
Okay, definitely. So Rob, we're going to speak about seasonal affective disorder. So can you explain to the viewers first of all what it actually is and how it affects people?
Yes, seasonal affective disorder, or SAD as it's known, it's a type of depression, often known as winter depression, because for most people it starts as the night's drawing and it gets colder. So it kicks off around about this time of the year, late October, and goes right through until springtime. And then as the brighter weather arises, spontaneously the symptoms disappear. So the symptoms that people get are low mood, they lose interest in life, so they don't get the pleasure that they would expect to get from everyday social contact or from hobbies or other activities. They also find that they oversleep. And interestingly enough, they also find that they overeat. Now,
Which makes you feel worse anyway when you put on the pounds.
It does, and most of us will eat a little bit over winter time, and we will gain a little bit of weight just normally.
Do we actually need it? Because my husband sometimes says, I hear people saying, I need the extra food to keep warm. You don't.
No, you don't. Not in this day and age. No, it was the case years, centuries ago when people almost went through the sort of hibernation behaviour, where they would eat to put on extra weight to keep themselves warm and to have energy in case they didn't get hold of enough food. So with seasonal affective disorder, the key thing for diagnosing this is that at around about the same time every year, somebody recognises or starts feeling those miserable depression symptoms, and then spontaneously come the springtime it lifts. Now for a few people, and it's the minority, it's the other way around. They get these symptoms of depression in the springtime and the summer. But for the vast majority, and it's estimated there are about 2 million people in the UK who have seasonal affective disorder, they're getting the symptoms really kicking off now. They get worse in December, January, the beginning of February.
Gosh, I mean, I remember having this problem like 15 years ago. I mean, I was depressed throughout the year anyway, but it always used to get worse as soon as the clocks changed and it started to get darker, and that I would get even more depressed. I felt absolutely worse. I was a little bit better in the summer, springtime, but obviously the depression was still there, but it did get worse during that time.
And that's the key sort of hypothesis around SAD, is that we don't get the daylight, we don't get the light exposure, and that upsets our internal body clock. Because we make a chemical called melatonin, that's what we call the sleepy hormone, that makes us feel tired at the end of the day and go off to sleep. And during the day we make serotonin, which is the feel-good hormone. And without that exposure, the light exposure, we make too little serotonin and we make lots more melatonin. So we feel tired, we feel miserable, our libido may be reduced, we just don't have the energy, we feel irritable, our mood swings, all those typical symptoms of depression. But it's not all bad news, because actually
What can people do?
you could do something about it. And one of the things is to recognise, if you have been diagnosed, now's the time to start thinking about getting more light exposure. And that simply means spending more days outdoor, time outdoors during the day. If you're stuck in an office, for example, sit near the window. Do some exercise, and it doesn't have to be very vigorous. Just a brisk walk for 20 minutes during the day will be enough, because that will lift the mood as well. We know that cognitive behavioural therapy and counselling helps. We know that some people benefit from antidepressants, and many of our viewers will have heard of light therapy, where you sit in front of a light box, which essentially is a light that's about 10,000 times stronger than your household bulb, but it gives you that light exposure to reset the internal clock and boost that production of the feel-good serotonin.
Now, of course, some people say, when it's raining, when the weather looks a bit miserable, they don't like to go out, and so they don't get that sunlight. But I love whatever the weather now, I just love being outdoors, and I used to hate sort of the rain. But I don't know what's happened to the last few years. I seem to love the rain. Even I love the sun more. But there's so many nice things you can do in the rain. You can go take your umbrella out and splash around, or go for a nice walk in the park in the rain, which is so nice. And then go for a nice coffee. You know, it's cozy.
If you just look at this time of year with the colours of the leaves changing.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Going from green to beautiful oranges and reds and
There's
yellows.
so much to see still.
There is. And actually, somebody asked me the other day, they said, what's your favourite season? And I said, this is my favourite time of the year, because it's cool enough to wrap up, but it's still clear enough to go out and
it's comfortable, isn't it, to go out? It's not too hot. Okay, we've got some street interviews as well. Let's see what the people of London had to say about this subject.
So today we've come down to central London and it's quite rainy, miserable and grey, so we thought we'd try and cheer people up.
What do you think about Britain? Do you find it quite a miserable place?
I think it's been quite fun so far, and the rain doesn't really bother us. We just came here to shop and make a little bit parties.
Happy place. It's nice and cool here.
But the people walking around, do you see them as, are they friendly, or what was your first take on Britain?
Friendly, business-like, like New York.
Do you think it's quite miserable today in London?
Oh yeah, of course. It's not very nice, I don't like it.
What do you do to try and keep your spirits up when it's rainy like this and grey?
Well, I'm not from London, so just being here makes me happy anyway, so it doesn't bother me. As you can see, I'm in sandals and a small coat. So.
If everybody are smiling, it really makes the day much, much brighter, even in a day like that.
How do you think we can put the smile back on their face?
I don't know, maybe a little bit of sun, a little bit of free concerts organised here and there, and everyone will be happy. That's what makes me happy. I think it's the same everywhere, really. I mean, back home, everyone's just the same, but yeah, I think down here people are generally a lot happier. I don't know, I think it's just being here.
What do you reckon we can do to put the smile back on Britain's face?
I don't know, with the recession it's hard, isn't it? I think companies themselves need to try and bring back themselves, make people come out more. Well, I'm going to go shopping now. I'm going to get some stuff. That makes me happy.
What about you?
Yeah, I was just going to say, in a place like London, when it's the weather, you can't really rely on the weather. Might as well just go shopping and have some good food. That's what's going to make you happy.
Bianca.
Crazy.
I have nothing to say about that. So it's quite interesting. The tourist there, at the beginning of the video, was saying how she likes it over here, and she's visiting different places. But some of the Londoners find it really miserable. So sometimes it's in the way we see things, I think.
I think so. I think it depends on people's outlook on life. I mean, for people who are tourists, then obviously they're on holiday.
Yeah.
So they're going to be less stressed. They're going to be doing things that are more enjoyable. And I think that's a key message for those of us who live in the UK and are working. It's very important to make sure we take time out each day to do something that we enjoy. Yeah. Somebody said to me the other day, life should be a journey, not a schedule. And I think that's really hit the nail on the head. So I've been saying to people for a long time, try and take at least 30 minutes each day doing something that you enjoy, that brings you pleasure, not on the to-do list. And even if you love work, that something that isn't work related, and certainly take 5 minutes out every hour just to relax and unwind and sort of recharge your mind ready for the next 55 minutes. And that's a very good way of lifting your spirits and actually having a more positive outlook on life.
Because like you were saying, that tourists, or the tourists that are here, they're more relaxed, they're looking forward to things. So we need to find things to look forward to. Even if it's just do something that you've never done. I don't know, go ice skating, find something weather related now, like things that you can do in the rain, things when it's cold. There's so many activities that you can go and do. And set goals for yourself as well. Sometimes maybe sort of towards the end of the year you think, I'm just going to wait till January to start setting some new goals. Well, why not set some goals now? You've got 3 months to the end of the year. There's a lot you can achieve, and I think that also keeps your mind busy and helps you keep focused on something as well.
And I think it doesn't necessarily have to be setting yourselves rewards for doing X, Y, or Z. Just put it into, put it on the fridge. Thursday, 4 o'clock, I'm going to go, or I'm going to do so and so. And if it means that you have to add it into your schedule, or you have to add it to your to-do list, just make sure that if it is on the to-do list, it doesn't keep getting pushed further down by the other things that get in the way.
Definitely.
Make sure that after a month, it's not still there. It's been done and you've written something about how you've enjoyed it.
Okay, so we've finished speaking about SAD for now, but after the break, we're going to be speaking about something that's been in the headlines quite a lot recently, which is diabetes. Now, I have to admit, I don't know that much about it, so I've got quite a few questions for you. So do join us after this. Welcome back, and now we're going to speak a bit about diabetes. And I've been seeing loads and loads of posters in the tube lately, and it's caught my attention. That's why I really wanted to cover this topic on tonight's show, Rob, because it's a serious issue, isn't it?
It's a very, very serious issue. We've got about 3 million people in the UK who have been diagnosed already with diabetes, and Diabetes UK, the charity, estimates that 850,000 people in the UK have diabetes but don't know it
that's
yet.
Shocking.
Why are we worried about diabetes, which essentially is too much sugar in the blood? It's because that damages the circulation, so the blood vessels, it damages the nerves. So it increases a person's risk of heart attacks and strokes, it damages the kidneys, it's a leading cause of blindness, it's a leading cause of people having to have limbs amputated because of the damage to the circulation of the nerves, and in men it's a leading cause of erectile dysfunction, impotence. So that's the scary side of diabetes. The more positive side is that once it's diagnosed, there are plenty of things that can be done to reduce the chances of somebody suffering these significantly bad health complications. The majority of people who have diabetes in the UK have type 2. And the major risk factor for that is being overweight. Particularly
So we were talking earlier during the break that it's not to do with having too much sugar, even though it's like the disease itself is because there's too much sugar in the blood, but it doesn't mean it's because you eat a lot of sugar, but there's a lot of food in general.
That's absolutely right. There was this, people used to say, oh, I don't eat much sugar, so I won't get diabetes. Eating lots of sugar doesn't cause diabetes, but eating lots of sugar and calories will put on the weight, and the excess weight causes type 2 diabetes. Now, we must let our viewers know that there is type 1 diabetes, which is not related to being overweight. This is a condition where the body turns on itself, damages the pancreas, which releases insulin, and therefore they require insulin injections on a daily basis.
Can anyone get that, even if they're not overweight?
Yes, anybody.
Okay.
We believe that there's a genetic component to that, and, and many people think that actually, although it's not entirely clear, in response to, let's say, a viral infection, the body then turns on itself. But with the vast majority of people who have diabetes, around about 85%, 90% in this country, it's type 2. And this is the one that you can prevent by eating a healthy diet, making sure that you keep active, and making sure that you avoid becoming overweight. That gives you the best chance of avoiding this disease.
Now, how do people know that they have it?
That's a really good question. I mean, when it causes symptoms, people may be aware of passing urine a lot. They keep needing to go to the toilet, particularly at night. They feel very thirsty, and they'll drink lots, and they'll still feel thirsty. They may find that wounds take a long time to heal. They may find that they keep getting thrush, fungal infections frequently. They may find that they get blurred vision. But the concern is with type 2 diabetes is often it doesn't cause symptoms. So the only way of being diagnosed is to go and get yourself checked, either at your GP's or with the practice nurse or at your local pharmacy, because many pharmacists are doing the test.
So you don't have to have any symptoms, because
no, you
I know some places that if you go to and just say, I'd like to have a test for this, well, are you having any symptoms? Because I remember going to a doctor once, this was in Swindon, and they said, well, you don't have any symptoms, so we're not going to see you. And I thought, well,
nowadays, we would welcome you with open arms. We would want to test you, because on average, it's 10 years that somebody has diabetes, but it hasn't been diagnosed before they are diagnosed. And during that time, the diabetes is damaging their body. And so the sooner you diagnose it, the sooner you can get the right treatment, the sooner you can make those lifestyle changes, the more chance you have of avoiding these very severe complications of this disease.
So you can just walk into your local chemist. And what kind of test is it?
It will be likely to be
a
a blood prick test to start with. They may give you a urine sample to do instead. It depends on the local pharmacy, and you can just check with the pharmacist whether they run that scheme. If they don't, you can go and see your practice nurse, and you'll either be given a little pot to do a urine sample into, or you'll be booked in with your GP, to talk about having a formal blood test for it. Very, very important, particularly if A, you're overweight, and B, there's any diabetes in your family.
Okay.
And specifically, South Asian population and African Caribbean population are at much greater risk of diabetes. So specifically, if you're from those backgrounds...
I didn't know all of this. Honestly, and only since, even though my grandmother had diabetes, but only since I saw all the posters on the tube that I became aware of it. And when I saw the posters that they have of the family members looking really worried, and I thought those were such a good campaign that they're running at the moment, because it really did catch my attention.
Yeah, it's worked, hasn't it?
It definitely has. And sort of the amputations, I didn't know about any of that stuff. Did you, Bianca? I didn't.
No, not at all. But I have noticed it as well on the tube a lot more. So it's good that they're publicising it a lot more now, because people just didn't know, did they? Especially in your case, Chris, when you've actually gone and said that you want to get checked for whatever it was, and then they're actually like rejecting people that might have been a number of years ago. But
yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah, that's something.
It's so nice to know that you can just walk into doctor's surgery.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better now.
And I think it's one of the other good reasons why to have an eye test, because optometrists, when they look in the back of your eyes, they may be able to detect changes in the back of the eyes that are caused by diabetes. So they may say, well, look, I think you may have diabetes, go and see your doctor and get formally checked.
Gosh.
Because, it can be doing the damage behind the scenes and, causing all these problems.
Gosh. And what does the treatment involve?
Well, for people with type 2 diabetes, it may simply be changing to a healthy diet, doing more exercise and losing weight. Many people actually control their sugar. It can. I mean, if you lose a significant amount of weight to get down to a healthy weight, there's some evidence that you can put this disease, you can't cure it, but you can put it into what we call remission.
Okay.
But also there are tablets, and there are, of course, there's insulin injections as well. But the bottom line is, you want to get it diagnosed if you've got it, so that you can be advised and educated on what to do to reduce your risk of becoming one of the millions, really, who suffer these terrible complications of this disease.
I'm a bit confused, because I remember this was years ago when my grandmother had it. She just stopped eating sugar. Now, I don't know, and she used to buy, the diabetic chocolate and stuff, but if it's not to do with sugar, why was she, do you know why she was having to do that?
In the old days, or sort of days gone by, people thought that it was too much, may have thought it was too much sugar. They also used to say about type 2, oh, I've got the milder form of diabetes, and that's nonsense now. Type 1, type 2, they're equally as important and as serious. The other thing about the diabetic diet is a healthy diet. It's the diet that we should all be eating. So there's no need for these specific, chocolates and jams, etc. You just eat your 5 portions of fruit and veg a day. You make sure that you drink plenty of liquids.
You can have the odd chocolate.
And you can have the odd ice cream. You can have the odd piece of cake, and you can have, the chocolate, as you say. But like for all of us, whether we've got diabetes or not, these are treats. These are not the staples of our diet.
Gosh. So maybe, Rob, can you give us some maybe top tips to be, I know probably most people know, but just in case there's anyone watching that doesn't sort of know how to have a healthy lifestyle, what may be some small changes they can make?
Yeah, well, what the small ones are actually just to get a bit more active, and that can mean, going for a brisk walk, out to the newsagents and back, let's say. Another is taking 5 minutes out every hour just to relax and unwind, reduce your stress. Another is to make sure you have your 5 portions of fruit and veg a day, and the simplest way to do that is to lay them out in the morning in front of you, so that you know they're there, and you know that at the end of the day the bowl is empty, so you've had your 5 portions. And the other thing, of course, these are the bigger ones, is to not smoke. Obviously, to only consume alcohol within those safe recommended amounts. So for men, that's no more than 3 or 4 units of alcohol a day, and for women, no more than 2 or 3 units of alcohol a day. And the other one, of course, is try and keep your weight at a healthy level. That's probably, along with smoking, the hardest one. But really, the 2 major risk factors for all disease, smoking, being overweight.
Okay, so great advice there. Thank you so much.
My
It's been
pleasure.
really, really insightful. And I'm going to go and get tested. Actually, I do have an eye test booked for a couple of weeks just to get everything checked out. But I'm going to go and get tested as well. I'm going to get my husband to go. So thank you so much. That's great. Okay, so I do hope you've enjoyed the program today. It's been very informative. And also, if you have a topic that you'd like to see discussed on this program, please do feel free to email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. We will consider your ideas, and if you may find that your topic will be aired very, very soon. So do email me. And if you want more information about any of our guests and also more about the show, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. Bianca, thank you so much for the news.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you again on Monday.
Yes.
Right? Okay then, so do have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Don't worry about the weather. Go out and enjoy it. Do something. Take out your brolly. Have a splash in the rain. It's lovely. I do hope you enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye for now.
All right, just do some, expression. Nice. Okay, let's do one by one, just for...
He was literally stuck to me like this.
I was like that, and then Barbara was behind me. You were like a train.
When she grabbed me, she really squeezed.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
It's all right. You were scaring me more than anything.
I was so scared.
Oh my God. Yes, that was very good.
Not for the
Cut the camera for a minute, please.